Please welcome Shiloh Vance.
Thank you, Abby. It's a pleasure to be here.
I am so excited to have you. Just to kick it off, start out strong, I want to hear about your story. Telecom is not always the most obvious path. I want to know what led you here and what made you stay.
So, I have the global pandemic to thank for finding my way into telecom. I came from the financial services world where unfortunately my role was eliminated during that time when we all started working from home and figuring out what that journey looks like and ushering in a new era of work, right? But in that past life in the financial services world with the various employers that I was at, I kept in touch with a lot of my counterparts and colleagues and made it a point to never burn a bridge. And so, thanks to that, when I shared with my LinkedIn network that my position had been eliminated and I was open to work like many others in my area, the one and only Riley Nichols introduced me to Indetel and the telecom world. She was a national account manager here at Indetel, and I'm very thankful that she reached out and I took the leap into this new industry and learned from her firsthand when I started at Indetel.
Oh, that's so cool. I love hearing, first of all, I love hearing that the connections that you made through LinkedIn are what helped you find this job. I am such an advocate for LinkedIn. I'm like,
Mhm.
it's all about connections. It really is in this industry.
Oh, yeah, it's all about the relationships, the connections, and not in a hoity-toity it's about who you know type of way. It's just
Right.
nurturing relationships and doing good unto others. It
Yeah,
pays back tenfold.
exactly. And I also love to hear that you didn't you didn't go to college and be like, yeah, I'm gonna go into telecom.
Right. And I mean, don't get me wrong, many of the people I lean into for technical expertise in this world, I mean, many of them did like straight out of college,
Yeah.
or I mean that was what their degree is focused on within college. But on my end, I went for a marketing degree with a Spanish language minor. At
Oh,
one
cool.
point, I was going to be a sports marketing, like working for an NFL team or something really cool and snazzy. And then reality hits that as a marketer, you need to cut your teeth, probably something a little lower on the totem pole.
hmm So true. So I saw speaking of LinkedIn still, on your LinkedIn, you describe yourself as storytelling. You're fueled by storytelling and creativity. I would love to know, how do those strengths help you find your footing in such a technical industry? Because that is very different from what you initially thought you would be, the industry you'd be going into.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, as an inexperienced marketer in the beginning, it was all about sharing everything we do and all the different products we have, all the different services we have. But at the end of the day, your audience, how does that translate? How does it resonate? How does it make them feel? And going back to the drawing board made my team realize we need to actually paint the picture of what it is we're solving more than anything.
Mhm.
Because I mean, I'm 5 years into this industry and I'm still learning something new every day, both marketing wise and from a technical perspective.
Yeah.
And when you're a part of an organization that represents over 35 statewide middle mile networks, and there's a million abbreviations within this industry, and I've come to find out everybody uses them a little bit differently.
Yeah.
Why not make it simpler and tell a story and really highlight all the pain points that and challenges that your company can help another company resolve or just completely eliminate. I mean,
hmm
the headaches of multi vendor management. I mean, we get rid of all of that by being one point of contact, and that
Yeah.
is, in my opinion, the most fun story to share.
Right.
Beyond the fact that our niche is rural America, the hardest places to reach is what we're good at, and the communities that need it the most rural, where the real digital divide is at, is exactly where our partners are at. So it's exciting to be a part of that on the ground level.
That's amazing. It sounds like you're super passionate about rural connectivity. Do you have a past experience being in that same situation?
100%. Funnily enough, when I joined Indetel, the town that I reside in, it's about 30 minutes south of where our office is headquartered in Lewisburg, Kansas. And when I started with Indetel, the home I was in did not have fiber. Turns out most of the town itself did not have fiber. And it took a pandemic for government to realize how desperately connectivity is needed everywhere, not just the metro. And so about a year and a half into my time at Indatel is when my home actually got fiber for the first time ever.
So you were already working for Indatel and then got fiber. Oh my
Exactly.
goodness.
Can you imagine? I mean, I'm cutting my teeth doing the sales and project coordinator role, a lot of data entry, but a lot of working on RFPs, quotes, but a ton of virtual calls with
Yeah,
horrible internet, working for a company that represents rural connectivity. The irony was not lost on me. And so being directly impacted by fiber coming into our community was the greatest experience, but it gave me firsthand exposure to what it
yeah.
is we're doing here at Indatel. We're doing this daily within different communities across the country, thanks to all of our members and partners, which is super exciting.
That's so awesome. I love to hear that. I had a conversation with Director Mike Sanders a few months ago now, and he's the director of Oklahoma Broadband. And
Mhm.
on his first day in that office, the office did not even have internet. The broadband office did not. Isn't that
But you
crazy?
can't make those stories up. And
I know.
that you go back to storytelling. That is the perfect story to paint a
Exactly.
picture of how desperate rural America is for connectivity for all. And that's exactly what we're working towards here with our members.
Yeah,
It's I love irony, I love puns, I
me
love
too.
all the wit and the dad jokes, and those stories write themselves, but they're a ton of fun to turn into a campaign from a marketing perspective and really resonate with our customers. It's wonderful.
For sure, because marketing and telecom is no small feat. I think we both know that firsthand. I am curious, what's your approach to making complex solutions feel clear and compelling without, I don't want to say dumbing it down, but you have to make it seem important. What is your approach to doing that?
Of course. And honestly, the phrase dumbing it down, it helped me in the beginning a ton because
Yeah.
I didn't know what I didn't know. And that still
Right.
happens more than I would care to admit, especially when I'm being recorded. But no, for I mean to market in a legacy industry like telecom and make it relatable and make it easy to digest for just about anybody is no small undertaking. Leaning on those that I admire within our industry, both within our organization and with our member companies, has been a huge asset for me and really has sped up the learning curve on approach without a doubt. But at the end of the day, we go back to marketing approaches that are honest and authentic. Leaning on our experts to bounce ideas off of and learn best practices is incredibly helpful. And the coolest part, and I hope you experience this as well, Abby. I came from a world in the financial services where a lot of people would hoard information so they wouldn't be replaceable.
Hmm.
In telecom, people are excited to share what they know, whether it's about marketing, whether it's about sales, whether it's about engineering. So you could learn as much or as little about darn near any aspect of our industry from just about anybody, which is really cool.
I completely agree. I just wrote an article this morning actually that I posted on LinkedIn just about, I get questions a lot, a very similar question to this, just how do you make this like exciting? How do you have new ideas? How do you make it relevant? And I shared an article about like just what you're saying, just about making it human, putting it in
Exactly.
terms of like, do you use Facebook? Do you use FaceTime? Like, and making it into terms that people actually on a daily basis. And I shared that, and I was thinking, like, when I posted it, I was like, should I be sharing this? I'm like, yeah, of course I should, because we
Like,
all have the same goal.
mhm.
We're trying to connect as many Americans as we possibly can with the best. So, yeah, I completely agree with that, and I love that. I've seen that myself, and so to hear you say that too, like I truly love that about this industry.
That
That's
makes my
awesome.
day. Well, and I think at one point you and I were discussing how you balance the creative aspect, but then the need for clarity and technical accuracy, right?
Right.
That's, I mean, it is pivotal to get your message across, but also for it to be understood as intended.
Right.
On our side of things, I mean, we start with a fun idea, sometimes inspired by others that we see usually on LinkedIn. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
That's I mean, that is our number one platform without a doubt for the time being. But we starting with that fun idea and then mapping out how to represent that within a campaign. That's where I have a ton of fun with my marketing manager, Melissa Lyons over here. We That's really where we start expanding on how to tell the story and maybe a couple different ways. So that way,
Yeah.
depending on who's looking at it, it's going to speak to them in a way that is memorable, but also they
Yeah.
can identify with. We always strive to put ourselves in the customer's shoes and
Hmm.
think about what the problem really is we're solving here, and rather than shoving a bunch of stats down somebody's throat. No one wants to read that. I don't know about you. I
No, they're
scroll
not
right
gonna
past
remember
those
that.
types of things. No.
Right. I completely agree. Oh, that's awesome. I want to transition a little bit and talk about leadership. I want to know, what does it mean to you to lead the line, especially as a woman in a male-dominated industry?
I had to think about this one for a little bit. I'll be completely honest with you. Um, when it comes to leadership and leading the line in a male dominated industry, in which, let's be frank, most industries are. I mean,
For sure.
that's the reality of our world.
Yeah.
Um, I do everything in my power to lead by example
Hmm.
and to never settle for status quo. Just because something's been done a certain way for a very long time doesn't mean it's a wrong way, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's the best way, especially these days. Things are evolving quickly, especially as new technology emerges. But I will never claim to be an expert when it comes to marketing, when it comes to telecom. I lean heavily into the people around me that are smarter than me. Relationships are everything within this industry, and it is crucial in order to be successful. Um, and so I take a lot of inspiration in how, in my leadership techniques, from the people that mean something to me and inspire me to be my best person on a daily basis.
That's awesome. I love to hear when leaders are also listeners. I think that's a huge leadership strategy that is not often found. Um, People like to be in charge. I think that's a normal thing. So the fact that you also listen in leadership is everything. I think that's like that makes the most successful team, honestly. To piggyback that question, have you had any moments where being a woman in this space has felt, there's two sides, felt like a challenge, and then the other side felt more like a superpower?
Ooh, this is a fun question. I mean, I'd be lying if I said there weren't challenging moments, without a doubt. The most pivotal one for me would have been when I found out I was expecting our firstborn son back in 2022. I was so new to this industry, so new to my role, and constantly finding myself trying to prove I belonged at the
Yeah.
table I had been sat at. And I was thrilled to be at a leadership table. But the head trash of somebody finding out you're expecting and then thinking less of you, or less of your capabilities rather, terrified me. I was young, I was ignorant. I chose more or less to not share with hardly anyone I worked with that I was pregnant for as long as possible because
Wow.
of that mentality. Those closest to me here within the organization, A, because they got to see me about halfway through when he couldn't hide it anymore, but B, the timing worked out that trade show season was wrapping up, so I really wasn't going to have to see a lot of external people beyond video calls where you never know.
Right.
Um, but I felt the need to not be forthcoming about that with people, though even the people that I trusted outside of the Indetel walls. um, and truthfully, I regret that because it took a lot of the joy away that I realized people had for me and for that chapter of life.
Yeah.
The head trash that I would be seen as less than or less capable, anybody that did think that way is not somebody I want to be learning from or inspired by at the end of the day. So looking back, I wish I had done it differently, but it's what felt right at the time. So challenging, but lesson learned, that's for sure.
Yeah.
The second half of your question, the superpower, kind of relates, honestly.
I was thinking that. I was like, honestly, I feel like that could also be your superpower, that you can wear so many hats.
Yes, especially at a small organization. I mean, Indetel, we are a national organization, but we're under 40 employees. We're a small, relatively small shop. So we all wear a lot of hats. That's without a
Yeah.
doubt. Marketing with, 10 other hats sprinkled in that are a ton of fun, day in and day out. And that's why no day is the same. But as far as how the superpower relates, being able to wear all of those hats and remember what's important, and being firmer with boundaries, but also being a much more authentic version of myself since having my son it's been so freeing and wonderful. And I encourage everyone to not do what I did. Find joy in every chapter of your path, without a doubt.
Oh, I love that. That was my next question, is what advice would you give to other women or men who are stepping into infrastructure heavy roles?
Absolutely. I have 2 or 3 pieces, if I may, and you can pick your favorite
Please,
one.
please share them all.
The first is strive to be the leader that you needed when you first entered the workforce.
Ooh.
There's some that I have taken a lot of inspiration from, and some not as much,
Yeah.
for their own separate reasons. The second would be to never stop asking questions and then truly listening to respond. And third, and this is, I think, more from a female perspective than anything, and it's something that a mentor shared with me several years ago. And I'm mad I didn't think about it and really keep it front of mind sooner. But it's to never take criticism truly to heart from somebody you would never look to for advice in the first place. It doesn't mean it's not maybe valid in some context, but don't let it eat at you in the same way if it came from somebody that you are inspired by and look to and trust.
I love that.
Because everybody's got an opinion.
Yeah, they do, for sure. And I think it's so easy to get in your head about things because you naturally you want to be the very best you can be. You want to be respected. You want to be seen as smart and capable. So I think it's really easy to get in your head, especially if you are young in an industry, or maybe a minority, like being a female in the industry. It can feel like you just want to zip your lips and be just kind of fit in. But that's so important because
Well, I mean, if you want to try and find the right way to word this, so the intention I have comes across, right? If you're masking up to be who you think you're supposed to be, at some point you're either going to be so exhausted and burnt out from that that you can't do it anymore, or you're going to crack at probably a pretty inopportune moment that it's not worth it. It has been so empowering to I mean, I feel like I keep giving you A, B, and C, and that's a really bad habit of mine. But anyway, no, it's been empowering to be encouraged from leadership here at Indetel and from our board of managers as well. It's being encouraged. I mean, it's not just me, all of our leaders here to lead by example, but lead as your authentic self. At the end of the day, we aren't going to grow together and help connect rural America if we don't all really know each other and trust each other. And so that authenticity is everything. I mean, and that's selfishly on the marketing side of things, that is truly everything when it comes to storytelling. People can sniff it out real quick if you're telling something fake or that you don't believe in. And so that has been the
Right.
most wonderful thing in the last couple of years, to be encouraged and applauded for doing so with our leadership team. It's been very exciting.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, I think that goes into also with your customers, just like you were saying, is building that trust. Like when you are storytelling is the best way to be relatable and explain what it is exactly that you do. Because I think that with all the technical terms and acronyms, it can kind of be lost on what we're actually doing. And that I don't think that using all those technical words and acronyms, I think that would push people away because they just don't understand and they can't connect.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so exactly making it human and building that trust is everything within this industry. I love that.
Makes my day that you
Um,
feel the same way. Where there's us marketers have to stick together, but it's true though.
so
I mean,
true.
it's to me, I not that I find it off-putting when something is jam-packed full of acronyms and stats, but I'm going to remember an ad or an email or even a call if somebody makes me laugh, if I
Yeah.
find something I have in common, or oh my goodness, they're struggling with the same thing I am. What did they do to make it better? And
Exactly.
that's our goal at the end of the day, to be able to provide that style of content, but it's through leading and drawing from our own experiences.
Yeah, I love that. You have such a good heart for this, Shiloh. You really do.
You're
I
too
love
kind.
hearing it. I want to know a little bit about you, personal question. Outside of work, you clearly have a lot of energy and excitement within the industry, but I also want to hear about outside of work. What helps keep you creative, um, on even the days that you're just not feeling creative?
Well, it is no secret that I am a caffeine addict. Odds are you will see me with some version of sugar-free Red Bull when out and about at shows or traveling or what have you. I am not a coffee drinker, much to my husband's dismay and many counterparts. It's just not my thing. So finding a Red Bull will make my day. That definitely keeps the juices flowing. But when you hit that creative block, something that I've been working very hard on in the last probably 3 years or so is knowing when to pause and go do something
Mm,
else, that either it's a different project or something that just brings me joy and lets you
mhm.
reset and come back to it. Because if you push through it and don't have the creative inspiration, you're going to end up reworking whatever you spend time doing in that moment. And that, quite frankly, was frustrating.
Even more, then you're even more frustrated. Yeah.
Right, exactly. It's like I knew better than to do this, but anyway. And so when that moment to pause, and I think some people say go touch the grass or go take a walk, what have you, to take that break. For me,
Yeah.
I have found a new home in the gym and just personal health and fitness. We invested January of this year in a home gym, so I no longer have to wait in line and can try out the silly exercises you see on Instagram to see if they really work like all these influencers say they do.
Oh,
Um, but it's been very exciting. And then you're done in 30-ish minutes rather than psyching yourself up to go, get traveling all the way there, waiting for a machine, doing all the things, then making it back home. And I mean, double the time, if not more, you're
yeah.
get back to your desk and we're all about efficiency since we wear so many hats here, and that has been a lifesaver. Us making that a big part of um, just everything at home.
Yeah.
Just being the best version of ourselves, and that includes health and fitness. And so
So
that helps helps my sanity, and I think it improves everybody's happiness when I'm a little bit more sane, both here and at home.
I love that. So caffeine, energy drinks, and the gym.
Exactly, and
Working
then
out.
as
That's
much time
awesome.
outside as we can with a
Yes.
toddler son. I don't know. This is where I sit down. When I get home, all bets are off. He's always on the move, and it's a great thing getting all of our steps in. And he loves everything outdoors related, whether it's playing in dirt, rocks, or trying to find the fastest boat on the lake to talk us into trying it out. He's truly is an amazing chapter of life, and it continues to have even better chapters every time you hit a new milestone. Some are interesting to navigate, without a doubt. And I would not be here. I would not be able to do the things I do without a supportive partner at home. He has his own career and is doing amazing. But it's wonderful to have somebody that cheers you on as you take on new roles, new hats here. I mean, we're in this together, and that's the best part.
Yeah. Oh, that's wonderful. Before we wrap up, I just want you to share one thing that you hope listeners take away from this journey or any update on what's next for Intadel.
Absolutely. What I hope people take away from this conversation, always here. It brings me a lot of joy to share knowledge and be somebody that you can go to as a trusted leader within the industry, regardless if it directly impacts day to day or if it's, I mean, us women in telecom need to stick together, just like marketers do.
For sure.
We are a force to be reckoned with, and our voices across the board should be equally as loud as our male counterparts because we have something to say as well. As far as what's next for Indatel, we have a lot of really good things cooking over here. Hopefully my boss doesn't get mad I share some of it with you today. But no, we are diving into some new channels here at Indatel. We recently were approved to be added to the GSA mass schedule. So we are able to start directly bidding on federal RFPs and be that direct connection for critical infrastructure in rural America. There's so many sites across different federal agencies that need better bandwidth or need more bandwidth or need diversity from their current provider. So that way there's a secondary option should something happen to disrupt that initial connection. So we're very excited to be a part of that. And that, I mean, just in the last 30, 45 days became official. So yay. Very, very thrilled about that. And secondly, we'll be diving into the world of enterprise in 2026. We have a lot to learn. We have so many member companies that are a part of Intel that have been doing this way longer than we have and are the experts that we lean on to start working on these new channels. And I can't wait to see how much more we grow.
Oh, that's so exciting. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah.
That's so exciting.
Thank you. We're thrilled.
That's awesome. Well, I'm going to close us out here. Thank you so much for sharing your insights, your advice, and a few little exciting secrets. I'm so honored to have you on this episode. Thank you so much, Shiloh.
Thank you for having me. The feeling is very mutual, honored, thrilled, excited, and like we talked about earlier, also nervous, but it was a pleasure to meet you, pleasure to be a part of this. I can't wait to see how this podcast grows.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for tuning in to She Leads the Line. If you loved this episode, share it, tag us, and keep amplifying the voices of women in infrastructure. Until next time, keep leading the line.